Black cloak, street gospel, light of the temple. Sword swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Black burial, the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One, and this is bonus episode number 4. I mean, the bonus episode's just been coming in like crazy right now. But this particular person, I couldn't pass. So everybody that we had on the bonus episodes have been, I would say, amazing. I mean, it's been good guests. They've come on. Sometimes I get people that hit me up. They say, "How'd you get that guy?" And can you help me get that guy? And I'm like, chill, man. I got my own guests. I made my own way. You get your own guests. And but before we get to bonus episode number 4, I always play a little banger to introduce my guests. So for this particular guy, I picked out a little beat. I thought he'd really kind of appreciate.
Always.
So this dude right here,
always.
I mean, he's been in the game for a long time. And when I mean what game, he's a musician. He's a famous musician. We'll get into that a little bit. He's a father, right?
Yes, I am.
He's a father. He's a husband. He's a brother. I know his sister and his brother-in-law really well. I mean, he's a SD native. I mean,
no doubt about that.
They represent SD, I mean, harder than the Padres. I mean, straight up. And then one thing that amazes me about this dude, recently, this guy's a carpenter. I mean, I always get these dudes on my podcast that are like these jacks of all trades. I mean, so without further ado, I want to welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast, Mr. Noah Bernardo. Give it up.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked, big time.
Welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, I'm glad to finally link up, man. It's been a couple of weeks, like we dipping and dodging here and there, doing some between the other things, whatnot. But we're here now.
Yeah, I seen you at the Padres game, and I wasn't trying to hate, but I noticed you were with the LA fan.
I was. My wife's an LA fan.
I know. I saw that. I was like, okay. So you had to find a good girl up in LA. You know what I mean? I get it.
I did. I met her in LA actually, many years ago, and the one thing when she moved down here, you guys didn't really have a team. I mean, people say LA Raiders, Rams, whatever, but she wasn't attached to that, so I persuaded her to be a Charger fan for the time that they were here. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I could never sway her from not being a Dodger fan. Let's put it that way.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. So,
and I tried my hardest, bro.
It's pretty difficult, man. But I was tripping out on this. So you're like me. Well, my team is the Raiders. I'll just be straight up. So we got this rivalry going right here, right? Mean rivalry for years, right? So, but I noticed you're close friends with Sendog, and Sendog, I heard, persuaded you into staying a Charger fan because you were ready to when they split, you're ready to cut them loose, right?
Yeah, big time, man. Yeah, we were on tour. At the time, we took his I forget the Power Flow. Oh yeah, his rock band Power Flow.
I seen you guys at the Riverside Auditorium playing with them.
Yeah,
Alien Ant Farm.
Yeah, it was during that time when the Chargers were doing their transition. I was like, man, I don't know if I can. They going to LA. I'll never rock Charger LA gear. That ain't never gonna happen.
Right.
I wasn't gonna go up and see him at the half-filled, mostly opposing teams freaking games.
Right.
And I just wasn't gonna go out like that. And he's like, homie, look it, man. I've been following the Raiders forever, bro. Oakland back to LA back to Oakland.
Yep.
He's like, dude, once you're a fan, you're a fan. He's like, dude, I'm always gonna stick a Raider fan. Now they're in Las Vegas, and he's like, and I'm still a fan. It is what it is, bro. That's my team. And he's like, besides that, what other team are you gonna go for, homie?
Right.
And I'm like, you're right.
You're like me. You got to stay true. I mean, through thick and thin. I mean, like you said, LA, Oakland, Vegas. It is rough for me to rock anything Las Vegas, man. This is not my thing, right? I mean, Oakland was kind of cool, like Oaktown, getting high fee. But Vegas, I'm like, oh, I just get the Raider hat, but no Vegas on top.
Yeah.
I'll get an old school hat,
So that's what I do, bro. I just find all the old like vintage,
right?
Mitchell and Ness, San Diego Charger gear. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure you do, and I just rock with that. That's what I got. That's what I got to work with. That's what it is.
That's what it is, man. I mean, baseball team stood. I just don't understand. Chargers had a good following down there. It didn't make sense to come up here. They were already, they were third tier. You know what I mean? Behind Raiders and Rams already. To come up here was just. I mean, I wish the city. Honestly, I mean, I hate to say this because I'm not a Charger fan, but if they would have stood there overall for the city, for the team, I think it would have been. They would have had it locked up, sewn up. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%, man. And now I even seen like a recent stat that they're not even like third tier. They're like 8th tier in LA, homie. Like UCLA, all them teams got power over them. Yeah,
it's a rough market up here, man. It's a rough market. I mean, USC got a great football team. UCLA basketball, Dodgers, Angels. It's too many teams. But to try to squeeze in here. But let's get to the business here. So you are the drummer for P.O.D. going on almost 30 years now.
Yes, 30, maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, I know we're up at 30.
So where did your career start? Did your career start? I mean, obviously it started probably long before P.O.D., but where did you start off, and how did you start off?
I started. I don't know if you ever met my mom and dad through my sister.
I've never met them. No.
You never. My parents, they had me with. My mom was 14 when she had me. My dad was 15 or 16. Or anyways, they were young parents. And my dad, since he was a kid, he always played in. He always loved playing drums. He loved rock and roll. And I watched my dad play drums all through my youth. You know what I mean? Since I was a kid, I would hop on the kit. 4 or 5 years old when he would leave the pad and like make racket when he was at work and just jump on as long as I could. And they ended up splitting up for a couple of years. My dad was, he's going through a rough patch. He was, homeless out on these streets and God ended up touching his life. You know what I mean? He gave his life to Christ and he started making a change in his life. And long story short, my mom and dad ended up getting back together because my dad had straightened up his life and gave his life to Christ and stuff. And so when I moved back with my mom and my dad thought it would be cool if we just went and got out. We went and bought an old vintage kit. It was a Rogers kit, like at the swap meet, but none of the parts were on it. Like none of the hardware was on it, none of that stuff. And to tell you the truth, my dad, we were freaking broke. It wasn't like we could buy a kit anyways, but God used that as like a father bonding type of thing where I could put the kit together. Like, we would go look for the parts and do all those kind of things. And it was just kind of like building me up. You know what I mean? So when I got on this kit, when it was finally complete, it was like, it meant everything to me.
Dope.
You know what I mean? Dope. So that kind of like fueled like the spark, you know what I mean? For me to play drums. And I just jammed around, I was into surfing more than I was into playing surfing and skating more than I was into playing drums. But when I got in high school, I met Marcos through a mutual friend of ours who's a guitar player in P.O.D. So he linked us together. Me and him started a band called Eschatos. It was like a thrash band. He was singing and playing at the same time with a different bass player. My cousin Sonny, he's the singer, P.O.D. He wasn't in the band yet. And we kind of wanted to switch it up. We're like, yeah, we need a front man. You know what I mean? Like, and Sonny was in a hip hop group with some of my friends from high school and stuff. But he was shy. He was shy back then. He didn't want no part of no rock and roll. He didn't want none of that kind of business. But
a shy front man.
I asked him.
A shy front man. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
that?
Dude, he was shy. I got VHS tapes of our first show with his back just looking at me the whole time. I'm like, turn around, homie.
Is that why he used to wear the mask? Because he didn't want to show his face? Is that why he used to wear the ski mask? Because I know he used to wear the ski mask.
No, okay. His hip hop nickname was the Hitman.
Okay, got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So that was kind of like his little thing right there. But yeah, long story short, man. I mean, I don't know if you call it a career. I don't call it a career. I look at it as part of the walk, part of the adventure. You know what I mean? And it just kind of turned in to like the band just started bubbling up in Dago, and we started doing more shows, and then it would be LA, and then we save up our pennies and go to, Arizona, wherever we could play, man. You know what I mean? And just as time went on, they just kept building and building and building until it got to the point where, all four of us quit our jobs at the same time. We said, let's do this. And we put our heads down and went full head.
That's crazy, man. Did you know you were good right away? Did it just click for you? Or did it take a lot of work? Because I know there's some musicians, it's just like they pick up any instrument and they just figure it out. Did you figure it out right away?
I don't think we figured it out right away. I think we felt good about our band because we had like the hood behind us. So all our homies would come to the show and they would represent, and it was kind of more like a movement. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, dang, P.O.D's this badass band. Like we had good music and it was different and it was sick, but I think it was more vibe driven with what was going on behind us and how God was like using our band, like the lyrics and stuff in our neighborhood. And it was just leaving a mark. You know what I mean? It was bigger than the music. Right. If that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
No, it makes a lot of sense. If I know one of my favorite videos all time from you guys is Southtown. And the reason why it's so eye-catching is because it's like if you grew up in the neighborhood, it's like everybody's neighborhood, right? That's what it was. It's like, hey, come over to the house. We're going to have a barbecue. We're going to play some music in the backyard. Everybody's invited. Let's have a good time. Nobody's tripping. Everybody knows each other. And I always tripped out on that. And even how you guys carried that whole attitude vibe, it's always been an authentic vibe. It's never – every time I've met you or I've been to you guys' show or even met Sonny a few times, it's always been like it's kind of weird because it's like these dudes sold millions of records and every single time it's just you guys been down to earth.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, that's we can't take that kind of credit. That's when you're a believer. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not trying to be a rock star. You know what I mean? You're trying to be as humble or, trying to be Christ-like. I mean, that's what a Christian is. That's what it means to be Christ-like. You know what I mean? So he's constantly working on those things individually. Sometimes we might have nobody's perfect. We might have a little pride spout, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I think at the meat of the matter is like our band always tries to remember where we came from and like, we don't perpetrate that, you know what I mean? Because I mean, we came from nothing, no doubt about it. So that's always the forefront.
Is it hard to continue that vibe? I mean, does it get, like you said, does it get rough sometimes? Or have you gotten caught up in the fame? And you guys done it all. I mean, been all over, played everywhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was definitely some records and some years where it was like, we get burnt out because, like you say, we've been touring for 28 years straight. You know what I mean? Like when we were doing Fundamental Elements and Satellite, we were touring nonstop. You know what I mean? So you kind of get numb to those kind of things. You know what I mean? You just get numb. You know what I'm saying? And so you can get caught up. You know what I mean? Doing things that you're not used to doing, or you know what I mean? Relaxing in certain areas of your life or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that definitely happens. It happens to the best of them. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But at least we got Christ to be that example for us, and that's all we can really ask for.
Christ, and then probably coming back home, right? I mean,
oh yeah, my dad'll still whoop me, dude. Don't even trip.
Wait a minute. Speaking about whooping people, man, Loli might whoop you, right? She's pretty tough.
Oh, she's all talk, man. She all talk.
Hey, you know what? Okay, this for everybody out there. Loli's a friend of mine. Her and Tony, we did some events together, became friends through that. But Loli gave me the rundown on you, man. She said that you're the biggest personality until she shows up in the family gatherings, bro. I mean,
I'll give her that. She's definitely louder than me for sure.
Yeah,
and I'm hard to beat. You know what I mean? But you know my sister. You know how her personality is. Dude.
I can see that. I have to put her on blast a little bit right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I love her to death. She's the biggest like teddy bear on the planet, no doubt about it.
So when you guys started, I followed you guys back in the day a little bit, and I knew that you guys started on your dad's label, right? Rescue Records. I mean, a dude from the hood like your pops decides I'm going to start a record label, and it became very successful, especially in the Christian realm. A lot of artists started coming to Rescue Records and stuff like that. But overall, he struck gold with basically his family, right?
My dad, because my dad played in bands, you know what I mean, all through town, and basically it was I think it was my mom, dude, that kind of like pushed my dad to take it to the next level, because she's like, you need to stop your band and you need to concentrate on your son's band because they got it going on. You know what I mean? Basically told that to my dad. My dad was like, what? So, he stopped, man. He started, he gathered up some pennies, dude. And he recorded and he got us to record our first, what you would call like our first record, which was Snuff the Punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And through that, we didn't have a label or anything like that. So we just made it up. My dad called it Rescue Records. And we ended up putting out our first 2 independent records through my dad's label. Yeah, Rescue Records. And then we signed a whole bunch of homies like around town. So punk rock bands, some other bands in LA. And it just started becoming a thing. Which was cool.
So when you're, how long was it between you guys starting your dad's label and basically the grind to get signed by a major label? I think it was Atlantic,
I think it was like 7 years, 6, 7 years. Yeah, because we did that in 92, and then we ended up getting signed. Yeah, 6 years. We ended up signing to Atlantic Records in 97, 98.
Was that just a straight grind for like 6, 7 years? Just show? Oh
yeah, that was a straight grind, bro. A straight grind. Like we were slumming it, man. We were in vans breaking down all over the country, sleeping on tons of freaking trailer beds in the middle of freaking casinos, 10 people in one hotel room. We're talking years. We would do like 200 shows a year, easy or more. You know what I mean? And we would just, the guys, everybody, I started my family young. Trey already had 2 kids. I think Sonny and Trey were the only ones that didn't have kids yet. And so we would collect our merchandise money, gather it up, and then we would go. There was no Venmo back then, so we would have to go to the post office, get a money order, and then send it home. You know what I mean? Via mail. So it was like things weren't getting paid, cars were getting repoed. It was a trip, dude. But that's part of the story.
Yeah, definitely. That you talk about in those days. We're gonna sound old right here and pull the old back in my day. But back in those days, it was harder to get known because there was no internet. You actually had to travel and do shows, right?
Yeah. It was all you needed to see us. We couldn't get our demos out to anybody because they needed to be at the show to get them. You know what I'm saying? And so it was all organic, man. Like people had to come to the show. We were giving away tapes. I said cassette tapes. Yeah, we were giving away cassette tapes, all that. And then that's how we were growing our fan base, because then everybody be chewing on that until the next time we came back. And our name would just be getting bigger because people would be tossing around, dubbing the tapes off, giving it to their homies. And we would come back and the crowds would be double and triple. And they would know all our lyrics already. But we knew that was the key. We needed to leave them with something they could play over and over again. They needed to have that. You know what I mean? We knew that. So it was important.
What was the feeling when Atlantic finally came to you guys? It's got to be just a relief of just saying, okay, now we ain't got to. I probably didn't think you guys were gonna be rich and be crazy, but enough to at least support your families and be successful and be able to say, okay, we're doing it now full time. This is a good thing. We don't got to sweat it no more.
Yeah, that was that don't happen right off the bat. Like they give you money up front, but they came Atlantic. The guy who signed us, his name John Rubely, which is our A&R guy, which we love. He flew from LA to Detroit on a Wednesday night, on a school night, and we had 1,500 kids in the club. And he was like, "How the hell are you guys getting 1,500 kids like in this club on a school night on 8 Mile in Detroit?"
Jeez. And
we were like, "Homie, we've been touring here. We've been touring through this country for 7-8 years already, dude. Like we've been grinding this." And he was like, "I definitely want to sign you." So we ended up doing a showcase at the Roxy or the Whiskey with the president of Atlantic, and dude, we absolutely sucked that night. We sucked. Man. And we were like all bummed out. And the president, Craig Kalman, goes up to John Rubely. He's like, "Dude," he's like, I don't know what you're thinking, but if this is the one pass you want to you want to get your pass on, you know, you can sign them. And he's like, I want to sign these guys. I want to. So he ended up signing us. And then from there on out, dude, it was a team effort. You know what I mean? We had to put together the, you know, kind of like the marketing plan, because you know, they only give you so much money to start up. You know, then the band's got money, so we can record. You know what I mean? We can take care of our bills or whatever. And then after that, it's back on the band again. We got to be out on the road straight up. You know, we created a new product with the Warner Brothers like machine behind it, but that's not automatic. You know what I mean? In our contract, they actually said if we didn't sell 40,000 records like in a certain amount of time, that they would just drop us.
Oh dang!
and we were confident in that, because we're like, dude, we already sold like 200,000 records out of the back of our car, dude. Like once all our fans know that we're on Atlantic and they're seeing it and they're seeing a video and everything, oh man, they'll come and help us out. And they did.
That's dope, man.
Call them the Warriors, and they came.
That's
they
great.
came up and they were like, dude, this band's blowing up. You know what I mean? And we were like, thank you, Jesus. Here we go. Let's roll.
That's crazy. That's a great story, man, because most of you hear that the band killed it at their showcase, right? And then they sign them.
Oh, we stuck.
And then they suck, right? But you guys, from what you're saying, you guys sucked that night. And then
we were nervous.
We were nervous because they gave you the pass, and then you guys blew it up. Yeah, so you basically proved your A&R guy, like, hey man, you know, you proved him right.
Yeah, but you know what? I like to say, they didn't give us the pass. Like, God already knew what he was doing. So
yeah,
you know, it was going to be what it was going to be. You know what I mean?
I definitely, growing up in SoCal, seeing you guys from the beginning, I think what it came off as is like one of us made it. You know what I mean? I think it was like, I think, and that's going back to the authentic thing. You guys like seem like the homies from down the street, you know, like, and when you guys made it, it was kind of like, ooh, yeah, I seen those guys come up. I was at their shows. I seen them. Yeah. Like, yeah. So I think that played like a big role, because you guys seem like everybody's homie.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what it was basically. You know what I mean? And we actually, one of my buddies who grew up on the street with me and Sonny, Ruben Torres, he did the documentary for us called Still Paying Dues. And
right. I got that.
Because he used to work, and he actually shot our first video with this other guy, Devin. And he was like, man, we got to document your fans, dude, and like get them to talk. And so he was going around interviewing all our fans for years. And that's when you watch it on Still Paying Dues, it's like all those fans' testimonies were saying that. They were like, dude, like these guys they ain't rock stars. Like, dude, every time I see them at a show, they kick it with us and they do that. And everybody just was saying how they knew us. And I think that's important, man. Like, I think bands lose that. And especially when they blow up. You know, I've seen it happen to countless amount of rock bands. Like, their attitude changes backstage. First, you know, they'll be like, right, man, I used to listen to P.O.D. left and right. Then they blow up. And then you see them at catering and they don't say a word to you. Like, they're too cool for school. And I'm like, well, you know, we're all hood rats. And I'm like, man, I need to go check this fool. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? But we don't. You know what I mean? We just do it on stage. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is.
Right, right. Well, word on the street, man, about you is that you have another nickname, and it's One Punch Wolf.
Oh man,
is this correct, bro? Is this correct? And what I mean by that,
messed up. Hey, man, I don't want people here on the podcast are gonna try to test me, man. Come on now.
Hey, well, man, it's out there on the streets, man. I'm just telling you, bro. It ain't like it's a mystery out there. I heard they call you One Punch Wolf, and
yeah, wow. It's not good.
And there's a number of people that you knocked out there. I don't know if anybody's keeping track, but I'm sure somewhere up here you know how many you keep track of. So,
but I know how many I lost too. So I don't be talking about none of that either. But it's all good.
In reality, if I've been side by side with you, I've been side by side with Sonny. And I mean, you guys are not small dudes. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, you guys are pretty like, hey, man, don't.
Well, we're not big guys, you know what I mean?
Not big, but I mean, you're not. I mean, I have a picture out somewhere of me and you, and I was like, he's a lot taller than I remember. And I was like,
that's what I say to most people. I'm like, dang, homie, I'm small. What's up? You know what I mean? We grew up in San Ysidro, dude, and it's all like Filipinos and Mexicans. So it's like when we started traveling around, we're like going to the Midwest and stuff. I'm like, dang, they're big out here, man. Like,
corn-fed.
they some big boys over on this side. You know what I mean? It's the whole different world.
Right.
especially when you travel over to like Russia and like the Netherlands and stuff like that. You're like, this is we in Viking land now. This is a whole nother gig.
And what's a trip about that is, I think everybody thought you guys were Mexican, but you guys are like you and Sonny are related, so you guys are a mix of something, right?
Yeah, Italian. Our grandmother, our moms are sisters. That's our Italian and Guamanian side, which is a little island. And then on my dad's side, he's Filipino, German, and Sonny on his dad's side, Spanish and Hawaiian.
Wow, man. A good mix of a lot of islands right there, man. Yeah.
And then Marcos is Mexican, and Trey's the bruh. You know what I'm saying? From Cleveland. Man. Yeah, the bruh. But that was dope. We well mixed up, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely mixed up. I used to always trip out, and then when I found out, I was like, I think your brother-in-law Tony told me that. They're like, nah, man. They all mixed different cultures, but it's just that SoCal vibe, man. Even the way you guys dress,
we grew up.
It's a SoCal vibe.
Yeah, we grew up one exit away from Tijuana. You know what I mean? Our whole life. So that's, I mean, most of 90% of my friends are, they're all Mexican, and then they live they're from TJ. You know what I mean? So we would go down there all the time, kick it and do whatever we had to do.
That's right. So with being a rock star, man, the fame, everything else, cool. What everybody sees, but the stuff that people don't see, man, it takes a toll on yourself, on your family, being away. I see you with your kids, man, and they're a little bit older now. They're growing up, but I mean, all those years of touring, I mean, there is a price to pay for that, right? When it comes to family,
absolutely. I was with P.O.D from Korn this weekend. I spent the night over. Me and my wife went to a birthday party at his house, and we were both just saying, like, man, like, we were just talking stories about, and there's no crying in rock and roll. That's the number one rule, because you work to get there, but then when you're there and you see what's what kind of toll it takes on different aspects of your life, it's like, man, like, people just don't get that. You know what I mean? Because you are gone a lot, and time is when you lose time, that's like the most precious thing. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough for me in the beginning because my kids were very young. They're in their mid-20s now. My daughter's 19. But, man, it was just like when I was gone for, months and months at a time or years, like it was just taking a toll. You know what I mean? And with that, you do things that you don't normally do. You start drinking more. You're doing you're just numbing yourself. You know what I mean? And those things become headaches, and then it's just like, it just takes a toll, and then you got to find your way out. You know what I mean? You got to find out how to turn it around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that was pretty amazing, because all four of you guys never really, you never really heard anything crazy. You know what I mean? You hear a lot of rock stars, they go off the deep end, whether it be for a short time or for the rest of their life. But it seemed like you guys always were like close enough together where you kind of held each other together a little bit.
Yeah, that's the major key. I always tell people, like, for the longevity of the band, you know what I mean? If we weren't believers, or we didn't have that common thread, we would have been toast a long time ago, 100%. Because we're on the tour bus too. I've spent more time with those four dudes than I have with my wife or my kids. You know what I mean? Right. Or my family, like any of my family. So, that's four different personalities, dude. Plus the crew guys and the tour manager and everybody else. Like, you know what I mean? And everybody's grown men. It's like, you grow up, you get different attitudes, you look at life differently, and you got to try to navigate through all those things. You know what I mean? And so definitely having that common thread is definitely the key. And that's why we see bands come and go, and they don't stick around as long, because they don't got that. You know what I mean? It's sad.
Right. After all these years, man, what keeps you motivated, man, to get out there and still play, still make music? I mean, you're in a couple bands, and I mean, what keeps you motivated?
Playing music it's always supposed to be fun. That's the reason why you get into in a band in the first place. You don't really go with an agenda like, I'm going to tell the world about my message. You're more like, dude, this is freaking rocks. I love playing drums. Right. This is fun. You got to keep it fun. Number two, like the fans, dude, all around the world, like the fans that we have, dude, like, bro, they message me every day. They're constantly praying for us. They're constantly like encouraging us, and just to see their reaction and how they react to our music and all around the world, man. You know what I mean? That's motivation enough, dude. I mean, it's nuts, dude. And to see, you know, every once in a while, like lives change or stories that'll come across like that. I mean, dude, that's the biggest blessing in the world. So it's easier to be motivated when you're in my band. That's for sure. You know what I mean? We don't have to dig too deep to find it. You know, it's right there in front of our face. Right.
You know, we dealt with this pandemic, and I it always comes up in the last. I started the podcast the last year, so COVID's been a part of the podcast one form or another with whoever I talk to, right? But for you guys, I mean, who would ever thought that, you know, touring shows would be shut down, you know, for over a year, and nobody's playing anywhere. I mean, it must have been tough on you guys to really just say, dang, bro, like what we gonna do?
Yeah. Everything shut down. We had a couple European tours lined up. We had a whole bunch of shows in the States. I mean, the whole year and a half was lined up. You know what I mean? So it was like, whoa. And then, you know, and then we kind of seen everybody in the same boat. It was like, dang, all right, buckle in. You know what I mean? Strap yourself in. Let's see what happens. And it seems like a long time ago now. I mean, this is like what, 15 months ago, 16 months ago?
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know what I mean? So for me, man, like, you know, back in the day, my dad owned a construction company, and I was a framer back in the day. And I always loved building. I always loved working with wood and, like, you know, doing carpentry and stuff like that. And so I was like, I ain't gonna sit around, man. I need to like rehome my skills back, and I started building stuff for my truck, and then I just people started seeing me, and then my uncle wanted me to remodel the inside of his house, so I started doing that, and I'd pop it up on Instagram, and people would be like, "Whoa, what's up? Hey, come over here and build me a deck," and it just started spawning from that. From that point on, bro, I put my bags back on, freaking dusted them off, bought some more tools, and freaking started working again, like that old school style. You know what I mean? And I love it
dope,
because it makes me feel good. Like, you got to get up early in the morning, because for me, you know, idle time is the devil's playground for me. Sure. So I can't be sitting around like a rock star, you know, twiddling my thumbs at home while my wife's out working. That just ain't me. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I thought that was once again the authenticity you guys have, and the work ethic you guys have. Just to, I mean, I'm in construction too, and you know, there's something about putting on your bags, right, and just getting back to work. And there's a as much as I tell people, there's a sense of pride.
Right.
There's a sense of pride. There's a sense of accomplishment when you build something, or when you're a part of something and you put it together, and you can look back and say, yeah, we built that. You know, it's something good about that when you do that.
I mean, it could be man or woman, but I mean, just for me, like, it's like makes you feel like a freaking man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, dude, this is what's up. I did this with my hands. And then, you know, it was cool because I was doing little stuff around. And then these dudes hit me up. They needed another carpenter because they had two. The lead carpenter was still there, and they're like, hey man, we lost another one of our carpenters. Could you fill in? But they're doing big stuff. They're doing big beams and like posts for apartment complexes. And I was like, yeah, man, it's been a minute since I did it, but I just jumped in. I've been there for over like a year now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see some of the stuff you guys did, man, on those apartment buildings and stuff. It was a lot of work. And then I like your videos where you were showing, like, look at this, and you're showing the rot, you were cutting it out. Like, look at this. People were standing on their balcony. They could have leaned on this, it would have broke, and they would have fell 2 stories down. And then you show the progress, and you show the finished product. And I thought, man, I mean, most rock stars, most stars would be like too prideful to put on their bags, or they would do it, but they would do it behind closed doors. No, I'm not going to show nobody. You're just like, hey man, we out here working. We're doing this.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, man. It's like since I've been putting them on my stories, like numerous of dudes in big bands that they'll text me or whatever, and they're like, homie, like, what is up, homie? You're inspiring me, bro. And I'm like, that's cool, dude. If that does that for you, that's what's up. He's like, they're just like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know how you do it. I'm like, why, dude? Jesus was a carpenter, homie.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, come on now. I tell people that all the time. I was like, Jesus had a job. You know, he was putting in work. So I was like, man, I don't know what you guys think you're gonna do, live off the ministry or something. But the man was working.
I got one more week, and then I'm putting down my bags because I'm taking all July off to like go camping with my kids, and then P.O.D starts back up the beginning of August, and that's like over a 2-month tour right there right off the bat. So,
nice. Is that in the States?
Yeah, all through the States. We're touching east, north, south, west, the whole nine.
Dope. Yeah, I see you guys at the Riverside Auditorium with
it's a cool spot.
Yeah, it was a really cool spot. It was fun. Me and my son had a great time, man. I took him.
Yeah.
It was cool. What was cool is that I followed you guys, and then me and him are in the crowd, and he's singing the songs. I mean,
that's sick. Yeah,
that's like 19.
That's another reason why how to get inspired, because like for years, man, we'll see people that were our fans. They were kids. They grow to adults, and then they're bringing their kids, and they bring it to us. I'm like, what? Yep. And dude, like, we just were mind blown. I'm like, wow, what a trip, man. That's cool. And they're all fans now, and it's all generational. It's cool.
Yeah. That's the coolest thing is the generations that come, and then you have a good time together, and it was just all love. And once again, it was definitely worth it. Going back to
right on. Thanks, man.
You got it, man. Going back to your shows. So when you play shows now, 30 years. I mean, if we count, some of the songs from Southtown and stuff, and Fundamental Elements, do you get tired of playing those songs sometimes?
Yeah, I did at a certain point, but that's why I kind of think like this break was nice. You know what I mean? Because now everybody's fired back up, dude, and we're like, because we were touring nonstop, but now and then this tour that we're doing is actually satellite front to back. So that's the way they're marketing it, and that's what we're, because it's the 20-year anniversary. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're doing that record front to back. So that's gonna be cool, because a lot of those songs, dude, we've only played once or twice. You know what I mean? Like some of the deeper cuts on the record.
Right.
Of course the hits we play all the time, but the other cuts that are bomb, that are, the deep cuts, we've rarely played those songs. You know what I mean? So it's exciting for us. We're stoked.
And then you guys did that online show at Petco Park, right?
Yeah, that was sick. That was dope. And so we were doing stuff from our independent records, dude. And I mean, some of those songs we never played live, or it's been over almost 30 years, which is insane. So we had to rehearse, I think it was like 10 days straight, dude, like 9 hours a day, just trying to remember the freaking dang songs, dude, because we hadn't played them. Jeez, God, that's a long time.
Because if you count those songs, which your whole catalog, and you count those earlier albums, I mean that catalog's got to be in the hundreds at least.
Oh yeah, we got, and we ain't even talking about Payable on Death, the Payable on Death record, Serpents and the Serpents record, Circles. I mean, there's a ton of Testify.
Right.
I mean, we didn't play any of those cuts. Yeah, it's a grip.
All great albums, man. And then
Thanks,
all those albums, it's pretty amazing, because you had a lot of people on those albums like that did guest spots on those albums that were known people. And once again, a lot of people don't know Katy Perry, right? I mean, she was on there. Ika Mouse. You had just all these different people that were just coming on your guys' albums and guest starring. How did that come about? Those guest spots, man. Do you ask people? Do you you just see them at a show and just be like, I think that'll be cool. Let's do a little something. Yeah.
Well, like Sendog and Sick Jackin from Psycho Realm, like those were the homies already. We already knew them, so they were kind of like an automatic. Modest, we didn't know. We had a meeting with Damian Marley first to get him. That's when he broke out the scene with Jam Rock and all that. And we're like, dude, let's get Damian. So we set up a meeting with him, and then Modest started popping out for like, hey, dude, that'd be cool to get Modest. We actually called him from the studio in Hollywood, and he was in Israel at the time with his first wife, and he was sleeping. It was like, we're like, hey, man, there were P.O.D.s like, oh, I know your band, dude. Of course, it's always like, my wife loves your band, not me.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, my wife, she really loves your band. I'm like, all right, cool, homie. I'm like, well, what's the chance of you getting on the record? You know what I mean? And, long story short, we ended up flying him to Hollywood. He got on the record. Yeah, and we got Katy Perry. We got Paige from Helmet. We got Mike Muir from Suicidal. We got the Marley sisters on a track.
That's crazy.
We got Oh man, yeah, it's been cool because most people, you know, when they get the message, they're like, yeah, that's cool. You know, we haven't really had too many people that have turned us down. They've for the most part, everybody's been willing to work with us and be cool.
I think when the music is good, nobody could really say anything. You know what I mean? I mean, if they know that you're good at your craft, right, and they come into the studio and they realize, like, yeah, these guys just play good music, and that's the common thread that brings a lot of people together. You know, you guys were on Ozfest. You guys played everywhere with everybody and anybody, right? And everywhere you guys play, either the crowd starts slow, right? But by the end of your set, everybody's just hitting it, right? You know,
we've had some of them tours, many of them tours actually, because we opened up for Chris Daughtry once, which was weird. You know, that's a whole different type of ball game right there,
right?
So like, you know, those ladies in dresses and the whole nine, and we're like, we're gonna scare these fools away. You know what I mean? But they ended up liking it because we play like our softer set. And, you know, we'll play with anybody. We'll switch it up to whatever we need to do. You know, even if we went on a reggae tour, we bust out all our reggae jams. We got like 10 of them. You know what I mean?
That's what I trip out on you guys. You guys have a lot of different styles, man. You guys jump from the reggae style to more hip hop style to kind of that Rage Against the Machine style. Then a little bit of a little mix of, you know, not that you guys copy anybody, but that you guys kind of just like is the only group that really does a good mix. I mean, Korn used to kind of do a little bit of that hip hop beat and stuff here and there. Yeah. But you guys just like from hardcore to punk to reggae and then some hip hop, a little bit of, I guess you would call it rapcore back in the day, but a good mix, man. Was that always in you guys? Or did you guys plan that, or you just kind of evolved? That's just
what comes out. You know what I mean? Like, we don't try to make a style. That's just what's coming out of the guitars, coming out of the drums, the bass. And it's like, you know, we do make an effort to do like a reggae song on each record. Me and Sonny grew up, you know, big reggae lovers through our family. Like our uncle was the reggae DJ here at 91X since we were kids. He married our aunt, and that's kind of what got us into the reggae world. And so we always try to like pay homage to that style of music all the time, just because we have a great love for it. You know what I mean? Appreciation for it. But everything else is natural, man. Like, that's just our style. That's what we do.
That's dope, man. When you guys have a disagreement in the group, how do you, and don't tell me you guys go in the backyard and solve it real quick, but how do you guys resolve conflict in the group, man? I mean, what is it boil down to? Just a vote or what?
Bro, we still trying to figure it out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're the worst at communication, man. That's so funny, it's like time goes by, and then it usually gets to a head, and then we're forced to deal with it, and then we try to draw on, you know, patience and love and all the things that we whatever we can grab, homie. That's what we're trying to grab, because it'll get ugly.
I can imagine you guys probably go on stage pissed off, and then by the time the show's over, you're just like, yeah, it's cool, come on.
Yeah. You know how it is, dude.
It's all love. I mean, that's just like brothers, right? Just like family.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I love those guys with all my heart. You know what I mean? But like I said, we're all different guys, and sometimes everybody's got their own opinion on things, and we just kind of have to put it to a vote and see what's up. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a stalemate. Sometimes it's four different things. Like, oof, we got to do this again.
Oh yeah. So it's not even a vote, right? Four different angles. It's easier when you got 3-on-1, or you're split down the middle or something like that. But we got four different ideas on the top. Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Forget that, man. Forget that. Uh-huh. My favorite song from you guys is the one without Marcos, unfortunately. Sleeping Awake.
Oh yeah, that's a great song, man.
I mean, that's I mean, that whole song and that whole video, and I know it was written for the Matrix. Uh-huh. I mean, but it's from beginning to end for me. I mean, I love Southtown. There's a lot of Satellite. Mm-hmm. I love a lot of songs you guys done, no doubt. I can make a playlist easy.
Nice.
20 song playlist. But when it comes to the best song to me, it was like from beginning to end, Sleeping Awake.
Yeah, Sleeping Awake's sick, man. That was a cool experience doing that for the Matrix. Jason's a very awesome guitar player. And actually, when we did our Rarity set at Petco Park, Marcos played that song for the first time, and he killed it.
Yeah,
like he loves playing that song, and he just never had the time to like rehearse it because we never popped it in the mix. But we'll be throwing that in our sets for sure now because Marcos got it down and he did a great job. But yeah, man, that song's awesome, dude. And that whole experience doing the Matrix with the whole cast and being in New York, doing all the press with them for a week and all that craziness. Nuts. I'll never forget it. Now, that's when that's when I felt like a rock star. I was like, dude, I'm hanging out with Lawrence Fishburne and the whole cast doing the dang thing, every day doing interviews with these fools. I was like, wow, this is a trip.
Yeah, and the video was amazing. I mean, whoever shot that
off the hook.
Yeah, whoever shot that video, I mean, it was just great. The little mirror thing, and then you could see through the mirror, and then you guys were
dude. That video was like $500,000. They shot that. We shot that on the Fox movie sets right there in LA.
Man,
they had a big room, and they created those two different worlds.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a trip.
Yeah, it was like just a continuation of the movie, basically. Yeah. I mean, that's what it looked like, and then it had you guys playing, but definitely was one of the classics, man. One of the classics. So
thanks, man.
Have some fun on your break, man. I hope you, enjoy your family, man. I like I said, much respect to you guys over the years, man. Like I said, been a long time fan, long time listener, long time supporter. Appreciate you guys. But we got one thing before I let you go, man, and it is something we call the Furious Five, bro. It's a little. We ask you 5 furious questions, and you just give us a good answer, right?
All right.
a good
that paper like you're setting me up for the twist right now or something, homie.
I already got you on the One Punch Wolf, so
there you go.
I'll let you slide on the rest, bro.
All right,
dog. So, number 1.
Yeah.
Furious 5. Best place to grub in SD.
Cuatro Milpas.
All right. I agree.
You been there?
I've been there, bro. Come on now.
Oh, okay.
Man.
You know what's up.
You know what? Trip out on this. I had the taco god on the podcast. I don't know if you heard of this dude, but he goes around. He's done like 300 taco reviews, right? So he came to the podcast, and I asked him, highest rated place you went to? Cuatro.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 9.5. I'm gonna send you the clip. Bro.
Hey, then that guy knows what's up. Then I respect that guy. He knows
exactly. That's what I told him. I go, when you said Cuatro, bro, I go, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Because we would have said some whack place, bro. I would have been like, dude, chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know where to go in SD. This is my town.
9.5. He gave that. So, all right, man, cool. I love that spot, man. I heard they're back open, so I gotta take a little drive down there, get some grub.
Yeah.
Man.
Hell yeah.
Number 2. Maybe I already know this, but if you weren't a musician and you can pick any job, your dream job, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I'd say carpentry, dude, but that's still a little rough getting up in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that wood's getting a little heavy to carry upstairs, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it gets a little. Yeah, after you're doing it, you're like, oof. Oh man, you know what? Dang, dude, that's a tough one for me, bro. I'd probably be into marketing. I like do marketing stuff.
Marketing? Cool.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be a cop or something, you know what I mean?
Branding. Or like, no, I don't want to. I don't take like that serious.
I'm just messing with you, dog.
I'd maybe like a brand, like some kind of branding or marketing, like branding or something like that. You know?
All right, that's dope. Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, you learn from the best down there, Bobby, from
man,
Tribal. I mean, that dude, he's done it all, man. Number 3 on the Furious 5, your biggest lesson you learned in life so far.
Biggest lesson, learning not to turn the other cheek when I'm supposed to, because it just ends up being a compound problem instead of a simple fix.
Right. I mean, look, when we're young, it's a different story, right? When we're older, we get a little wisdom. You really don't have to prove yourself no more. you're okay with walking away. It's just like, cool.
True.
I'm good.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Definitely, bro. Number 4. If you can fill in for a drummer in any band for one night, what band would it be?
U2.
U2.
Yeah.
Dang. All right.
That's a bad band right there, dude.
I mean,
it's one of my favorites.
You guys have a classic that you did remake of theirs, right?
Yeah.
Bullet
the Blue Sky. But dude, I've watched those guys on tour many times. Just like the way those guys move the crowd. I mean, they're not a heavy rock band or anything, but they got nothing but solid hits nonstop. Yeah. And I know every single one of them. Like, if they told me, Wolf, can you feel it right now? We're doing this. I'd be like, I got it. Let's go.
Dude, would you be nervous or would you be excited?
Hell yeah, I'd be nervous, dude. Playing with the Edge.
Right.
And Bono.
Right.
Come on. You know what I mean?
I'm at the Edge one time, bro. I was working. I was in the elevator. He walked in the elevator, bro. And I was like,
are you serious?
The Edge? And he's like, how's it going? And I was like, good. And that's all he said to me. He didn't even look up.
Where was this, dude?
It was in Beverly Hills. Back when I was young, I used to run a laundry route. So I was picking up laundry from these medical offices. I had the bag, and then somebody came and stopped the elevator, like put their hand, and I was like,
and it was him.
And then he opened it, and I was like, oh shoot, and I was like,
yeah.
Edge, and he's like, yeah, man, and he's like,
hey,
how you doing?
We got a similar story. This was our first time. We were on tour with Korn, and we were doing a festival, one of the biggest rock festivals there, called Rock and Ring, and the other one's called Rock and Park. Well, me, Sonny, Trey, and Marcos, we get in the elevator because we're there a day before, so we're gonna go watch Santana play and everybody, and we didn't know who else was on the bill, but we get in the elevator, and the elevator opens up, and Sting walks in with his bass.
Oh man!
And we're like, "What? Sting from the Police?"
Yeah.
And me and everybody looks at each other, and we're like, somebody say something. So they tapped on me. I'm like, hey, Sting, man, I just want to say, dude, we've been listening to you since we were kids. Love your band. He was like, oh, thanks, man. He was really cool. And we got in the van, drove to the freaking stage with him.
Dang, bro.
We were tripping.
So the rock stars got tongue tied by an even bigger rock star, right?
Oh, but we were fresh. We were fresh right there. We were real fresh, dude.
Dang.
Yeah, we were tripping.
I mean, hey, Every Breath, Roxanne, all them songs, man. I mean,
that's actually the first time we met Santana, because we were walking backstage. He was playing, and we met him. And then years later, we ended up doing a song on his record and playing the Grammys with him, which was cool.
Ridiculous, man.
Sick.
What a life, bro. And you're still young. That's insane.
Crazy, dude. Oh no, I ain't young, but what a life for sure.
Oh man, you got a lot of time, bro. Speaking of that, number 5. Any goals you still have in life?
Yeah, travel the world, but not with my band, with my family, my kids.
Nice.
Go see places that I haven't seen with the band, but be with my kids and my wife.
Yeah, I was following Loli and Tony and your nephew, and I seen you guys' trip a couple years ago to
Italy.
To Italy, man.
That was awesome.
Insane.
Yeah,
I can only imagine all you guys in Italy. It must have been a blast, man.
Yeah, because we got our Italian family all lives over there, so we go visit them every once in a while. And it's we don't speak Italian; they all speak Italian. They don't speak no English, so it's just all love and kind of like sign language. You know what I mean? And eating food and having a good time.
So dope, man. Hey, Wolf, man, I appreciate having you out, man. Definitely was fun, man.
Right on, bro. Hey, I appreciate you inviting me, man. That's what's up, dude. Anytime.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
So,
all right, brother. So that'll conclude this episode of the Street Gospel Podcast. Bonus episode number 4, I should say. We know Wolf Bernardo, so drummer from P.O.D. I mean, you can't beat that, man. Appreciate you, man. I'll see you, bro.